and welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I'll be your host for today or tomorrow or Wednesday or Friday or Saturday or just whatever, because after all, it's your podcast. Now, we spoke a little while ago to Tony about fire in the library, but we never spoke about kind of what set it off, which was a bit of an event in the local forest. So, it's kind of like, this is what you would call a kind of a quick start on the Kickstart, because tonight, manning the fire towers, I've got Gwen, Ruelle, I've got a Mr. Samuel Bryant, and they're from Runaway Parade. And they're here to talk about their very suddenly successful fire tower game on Kickstarter. So, hello to you both.
Hey.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
That's okay. It's, yeah, I've been looking forward to this because I am very, very interested to. I've got a whole list of questions, as you can see from the show notes that I sent over. I didn't send any show notes. But, and that's I'm panicking for a second going, show notes, we didn't get there today.
That is what happened.
If we go at question number 17C, because we're never going to do these in order. But anyway, it's a delight to have you on. You are in pretty much slap bang in the like the middle of your campaign, which is currently, it was sitting at almost 1,000 backers. Almost 1,000 backers now, and you are like funded just ridiculously. I'm surprised you've got any stretch goals left at all. But thank you very, very much for coming on. For anyone who's listening to us for the first time, thank you for joining us. We appreciate everybody who comes along on this non-magical, non-wizardy type journey. The reason that we do this is because quite simply there's just not enough podcasts out there about board games. The search goes on, the search continues. We've still not found anybody. But the other reason that we do this is because, Gwen emailed us a little while ago, and we do get quite a few emails. And I looked over the email and I was kind of taken aback by the kind of the artwork that kind of struck me that you had on the game. And it reminded me of do you know what it reminded me? And I think I said this to you at the time. I think it reminded me an awful lot of the kind of the game Firewatch, in terms of, I don't know, just something kind of rang true. But what we're going to do is we're going to find out a little bit about yourselves first of all. So, but I mean, first of all, what's kind of like the mood like in camp at the moment? You must be delighted with what's going on so far.
No, we're totally thrilled and really grateful to everyone who has helped us get to this point. It's been a pretty crazy ride the last couple of weeks. Just, I don't know, first of all, just having the game funded and knowing we're going to produce it, and now being able to send it to so many more people, especially people all over the world as well. So yeah, it's been a really thrilling few weeks.
What about yourself, Gwen? How are you? Are you still kind of getting over it? Is every day kind of like Christmas a bit, I guess?
It really is. When we first clicked the launch button, as soon as we clicked it, the numbers started going up, and I think Sam and I just froze. We didn't know what to do, and we had all these plans, all these things that we were, going to post in different places and all this stuff. But as soon as we clicked it, there were people backing the project, and we couldn't do anything. I couldn't even send an email for the first 45 minutes because I couldn't believe what was happening. So having that happen was amazing, and the feeling hasn't really gone away. Like I feel incredibly unproductive because of just not really being able to contain myself about what's been going on. So yeah, we're very, very happy.
Yeah, our motor skills degraded pretty quickly. We could barely speak to each other. It was like weird little truncated syllables, like Gwen, what?
You just reaching over and shutting each other's mouths just to stop the drool from coming out. Were you both sat around the same computer at the same time, or were you kind of both at work?
We were 2 feet apart. He was on his laptop and I was on my desktop computer. But yeah, just the click of refresh is basically the only sound.
The steady drum of the refresh click.
Did you think that the other person had maybe played a horrendous trick on?
Oh, God. We do have theories that it's just one person that's like a really sympathetic friend who just keeps
making new
creating
emails
new
and personalities and writing us messages asking about the rules.
He set up like 977 Kickstarter kind of accounts so they could back
Yeah.
basically. And it's like you gotta ask them, are you coming out? We're gonna go and get something to eat, and it's like, no, I can't. Why not? It's like, because I'm $47,000 in debt.
Exactly. We're just waiting for that to happen.
I mean, one thing we always like to find out is we like to have a little kind of find out and look-see about how you guys kind of got involved in the hobby in the first place. So we like to look back at the kind of smoking, smouldering ember of the past before we look at the spark of the present and then the horrific carbon dioxide devastation of the future. So I didn't know where I was going with that.
I mean, I think it's my childhood dream to become a game designer. And I remember, I came up with some horrific games when I was really little. One that my family always tells me about was called Pigtails and Ponytails, and that's enough for me to know. I don't actually want to know how it works.
We want to know. We want a full deconstruction. Was there shoelaces involved?
I think it was just handing people either... it was like pin the tail on the donkey, but without blindfolds or entertainment. But
it was a bridge game.
Yeah, exactly. I made everybody play with me all the time at 3 years old, and I haven't stopped designing games since. But when, and Sam, I think it would say a similar story, maybe not with Pigtails and Ponytails, but when we realized that this was sort of going on with Kickstarter and the board game revolution that has been happening, I mean, it's been so unbelievable, and that there's actually a point of entry for people to design a game and get it out into the world. We were overjoyed. So
what kind of games were you playing then, kind of growing up? Did you start with the usual stuff and then progress into kind of like the newer kind of version? Obviously, you're two different people, so that question doesn't mean you have to answer the same. It's like asking a question like...
game that we both... Yeah, no.
We actually have the same life history.
Exactly. We're just clones.
It's just one of us. We're just really good at throwing my voice.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That's just... I can't even process that image.
Yeah.
Can you say bottle of beer?
What's that?
Say bottle of beer, because that's a favourite ventriloquist thing.
Yeah, right.
Garlic beer. No, that's not good. I mean, Sam, what were your kind of... I suppose I better start directing questions at people as opposed to, it's like walking into a restaurant and saying, would anyone like coffee? But I mean, what kind of games were you kind of into and involved in and liked?
I mean, yeah, I guess I started out with, some of the standard things, like the old, roll and move games of the past, where at first it felt like there was some skill, but pretty quickly I was like, well, I don't control my own destiny in these, and moved on to other things like Parcheesi, Stratego, and, then moved into Axis and Allies, Settlers of Catan, and kind of branched out from there. Gwen was actually the first person to introduce me to Carcassonne many, many years ago. So, yeah, I guess, I kept moving up with the complexity and then kind of branching out from there. But,
is it a difficult thing when somebody kind of says, do you want some Carcassonne? And you're just like saying, well, do I get a spoon or do I eat it with a fork? Or because somebody offered do you want Carcassonne? And I went, yeah, and then I was expecting cheese. But
it does sound like a cheese.
It does. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've just had my dessert and then I'm moving on to the Carcassonne, and the brandy kind of thing. It's just an unusual thing that people could say. It's like one of these things people say, oh, it's Catan, or you're talking Gateway when you're talking Catan kind of thing. So.
Right. Yeah.
But what
Yeah,
what was your
definitely
reaction,
Carcassonne.
Sam, when you got offered Carcassonne for the first time?
For the first time. Well, yeah, horribly surprised when it was just these bitter pieces of cardboard that I had to choke down. Yeah, no, I mean, I liked it. What I've liked is just finding the multifaceted ways of interacting with games and like how far different imaginations can take the hobby. So, I mean, that's been, and even more so now that we've interacted with all these other indie designers and what they're working on, it's just so many different tendrils shooting off. Like you can just find such an amazing variety. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that, and especially with the indie designers. Just like it's cool because none of those games, not two of them, look alike, and art styles, the way they play, the mechanics. So yeah, no, I've just always kind of embraced. I'll try anything once. I think just to try to figure out like how it works.
And have you got a style of game that you're drawn to yourself that you kind of would pick up over? Are you a kind of a worker placement kind of man, or are you, do you prefer, you mentioned Axis and Allies, do you like your strategy, or are you a bit of a card and dice person? I mean, what's your kind of your jam?
I guess it's really a mix. I mean, I'll go for the long form strategy if I can get enough people together to sit around for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, these days I've been into deck building a lot. I really love just playing through multiple rounds of Dominion with different variations and whatnot. Although I usually like including the Witch, which Gwen doesn't enjoy that much. I kind of like it when it's more of a like I'm coming after you kind of experience, and everyone else is like I just kind of want to like make my kingdom more efficient and transport my resources into victory points, and I'm like, well, I want to fill your deck with useless cards and like win by default in the end.
I want you all to die. What about yourself, Gwen? I mean, what's what kind of cardboard? I was gonna say what kind of cardboards lit your fire, but that's just so bad. But no, I mean, have you got a particular kind of genre that you enjoy kind of more than anything else?
I'm a huge fan. Well, I learned my first games were all card games. I played with my grandfather, who
All right.
Was an Estonian immigrant who was a very stoic man. He didn't say a lot, and really amazing person. But we would play casino and cribbage, and that was sort of the way he would have his martini. And and I was like 5. I don't know. That's how I learned to count. And so those kind of games are near and dear to me. And I always loved that type of strategy where maybe it doesn't come down to one turn and what you do in that exact turn, but it's more like this overarching, you play multiple games and you win more often when you start to learn how to, card count and handle certain situations in certain ways and stuff like that. So I'm a huge fan of trick-taking games like bridge and things like that. And now there's these other versions that sort of bring that into more of a board game setting or more of a themed card game, and I love those. Those would probably be my favorites.
So, I mean, when you guys are obviously kind of playing the games together, and I mean, how do you transition from? You obviously have the discussion about you saying, "Well, I made this game a long time ago, called Pigtails," and and Sam kind of looked at you and went, "Are you wanting to make a game?"
That was exactly it. That's the whole.
It's like I didn't get a pony when I'm younger, so I'm demanding some cardboard right now.
Yeah.
God, it's kind of weird. Like the actual inception point, like where the first kernel of the idea to move forward with it, like actually kind of escapes me now. I feel like we've been going at this for so long that it feels like we've been doing it forever. But I think for us, it really started with the idea of a mechanic more than the theme is how it began to form. And really this idea, and me and Gwen talk about this a lot, about having the idea where it's like we like games where we're dealing with the personality of the game, but we also like direct conflict with other players. And we kind of wanted to meld those together into this form where you're dealing with both of your opponents. The game is coming for you, your opponents are coming from you, and you have to try to survive in that space. And yeah, I think it really evolved out of that, and then trying to find a theme that felt like that, something that can't be controlled, can't be contained, something that is always gunning for you. And eventually we came on, like, the idea of a forest fire really seemed to fit that. And then we kind of took that theme and then even further honed it to fit into the mechanics.
I mean, did you go through kind of different? Did you have discussions about what it was actually going to be you were facing? I mean, in this kind of thing, people will go down like a fantasy realm, or was it just a case you looked at each other and went, "Fire! This is the way we're going to go with this." Was it a fairly quick, simple kind of decision process for that?
I think that one of the things that we wanted to do was come up with a theme we hadn't seen so much before, and while I really enjoy games that are fantasy set or more of like the dragons and that type of thing, we've played a lot of them, and it's not like my personal favorite theme. It's not like I'm reading sci-fi fiction or anything like that. So trying to find something that was a little bit different, and then the idea of fire came about. Fire is definitely a theme that's also used in board games. There are a few. Most of them are, there's a few firefighting games. I would say, like, all in all, probably less than 10, right?
Yeah. Flashpoint. I think Flashpoint rings a bell, but...
Yeah, there's Flashpoint. In terms of forest fire, I think there's there's a game called Hot Shots, and all of those that we know of. There's a few others that have something competitive about them, but they're mostly like cooperative style games. Either they're fully cooperative, or there's, you're trying to beat back the flames. So yeah, the idea of taking something like a fire theme and then turning it on its head and making it competitive, even though of course the plot to that is a little bit absurd, we thought it was just fun and something that we could really go with.
I think it's difficult to, when you're designing a board game, I think it's natural to gravitate to some of the more popular themes in order to get people's attention. So there's the usual kind of, there is like the magic, there's the fantasy, there's there's always like a cartoony, silly kind of style that people kind of gravitate towards.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you've got like, you're getting into your serious kind of, future zone, and then the post-apocalyptic kind of scene. So, I mean, what you must have had kind of enough conviction behind you guys at the time to say, no, this is the kind of the theme that we're gonna kind of run with, and not say, well, let's make it kind of alien bacteria kind of spreading across the board instead.
Yeah, I don't know. I think really some of the first conventions we brought the game to, people just reacted very viscerally to the idea of being able to wield fire and to spread it. And the idea that you can actually, because the perspective of the game from the bird's eye view, watching it spread out, it really kind of evokes the idea of a forest fire growing. And it's almost like this living force on the board. So it was really people's reactions to it that kept pushing us and fueling us to want to keep with that theme and to push it forward.
When you have games that have a specific theme, you get a lot of people who really, really love that theme, right? So there's like the people who just love zombie games, right? And so they want to play every zombie game they can get their hands on. But almost every time you've got a theme that's that strong and people love it so much, I think you've almost got this other group of people who are like, I'll never play a zombie game again because I either already own 10 or I'm just not interested in zombies, something like that. So,
I totally see that.
Yeah, so having something different, I don't think people have a really strong opinion about a fire theme. So you have to win them over with the mechanics, but maybe you're also not turning people off either. So there's sort of the pros and cons of that.
I don't know. I think as I say, I think the first thing that struck me with the game was the kind of the artwork on it is extremely strong.
Thank you so much.
In the terms of how, I mean, you get it's very difficult with so many games out there for you to get an instant grasp of potentially what a game is going to be about just by looking at the cover. You know,
Right.
it's it's almost like nowadays, like everything else, the presentation on the front box of a game, the artwork on there has got to be enticing. It's got to look fantastic, but they don't. But you can look at that and go, right, okay, there's fire involved, there's towers involved. I am, it was a quick. I could say, oh, I can guess really quickly what this game is going to be about potentially.
That's great.
So that again, it was just one of those things that went. Yeah, as I say, when you emailed me and said, oh, this is the game that we're bringing to Kickstarter, I was like, yeah, I will talk to you. I will definitely,
Awesome.
I will definitely kind of have you guys on the show. That wasn't kind of like a problem at all. When you were designing, did you do what every designer did? Did you start off kind of adding additional kind of mechanics and functionality that you ended up kind of stripping out? Did you get the bell curve kind of thing where you start off with nothing, then you add everything, and then you end up kind of stripping everything back down just to bring it down to the core mechanics?
When we started out, I think we did add a lot of things and experiment with different ways of influencing the wind and the way the fire moves, and then different patterns. And it became like clear over time, like we were able to cull those down, because there was the ones that worked, and then there were certain ones that kind of could break the game or would be too powerful. And it was really, the process of balancing the cards against the other cards in the deck that helped us figure out, which ones were the most applicable and which ones should move forward. So there was times where we had some pretty fanciful ideas that totally ruined the game, and then we had to like tone those down and either remove them or restructure them into something else. Were
you conscious at the same time of, because you were going to Kickstarter, of potential kind of stretch goals that you should consider? The reason I say this is because stretch goals seem to go two ways. In my experience with Kickstarter, you get people that when they're doing the stretch goals, they seem to be like a direct representation of improving the game in terms of the components that you're providing. Yeah, so you're going for the standard kind of better cards, linen finish, thicker board, kind of extra kind of, additional pieces, taking a cardboard token and making it into maybe a resin token instead. So when you were designing it, were you conscious of stretch goals that you're wanting to kind of put together for the game?
Yeah, we always, obviously certain things like the linen finish and that we've added and the thicker cards are just, if you can make the ideal game that you want to make, you want it to be a good tactile experience, and you want it to be a rugged thing that will hold up over time. And some of the cards we've added to the game, they are things we've been working on and things that have come up more recently. And but we didn't have art for them, so we still have to produce that, and we have to get them integrated in with everything else. So we have added a few new cards to the game as well. So we've done a little bit of both, upgrading some components and adding, I'd say, what is amounting to like a little bit of an expansion to the game within the stretch goals. But yeah, we were pretty conscious of that. There's definitely, we've gotten great feedback from our backers that have directed us towards some things we were thinking of more than others. But we had it pretty fairly mapped out. Although right in the beginning, our goal was jumping ahead so fast that it was like Gwen, being the graphic designer of the team, I'd be like, "We've got to change the stretch goal thing again. We've broken one." And it's like, she's like, "Well, what did that happen?" And then she'd put it up, and I'd be like, "Back to the computer, Gwen. You have to get it up. Everyone wants to know what the next stretch goal is. Like, hurry." So,
just kind of sweeping her along. There you go. Picking up a pillow and starting hitting her with it. Go on, computer. Get to the computer, Gwen. Come on. Start typing. Type faster. Think faster. But have you decided? Have you said, right, okay, at this certain point there are no stretch goals. We're all out of stretch goals, kind of thing. Have you reached that point? Are you still kind of pandering about, kind of thinking, well, what else could we possibly add that isn't just going to be a daft kind of extra that people are going to go, what, 75,000 for that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like we don't want to. Some people would ask you to add certain things but we don't want to it's like we don't want to add anything to the game that would damage the base game we've already made. We've played it thousands of times, and it's really balanced, and we really enjoy that product and think that it's a great core product. So I know certain people where, they're like, well, will you make a co-op version of the game? And it's like, at this point, we're not just going to slap one on just for, a stretch goal to try to push the campaign a little further. I mean, there are a couple other little things we'd like to add, mostly just component upgrades, that if we could add them, we would, if we end up making these other goals. But nothing in terms of altering the gameplay significantly.
Which leads us quite nicely into the gameplay significantly. People are, I mean, it's, there's fire. There's towers. It's competitive. You're fighting fires, and I guess you're pushing fires to other places. The basic premise of the game is, it's kind of, I guess, I admire your conviction to say, right, okay, this is competitive, and if you don't like it, go and play one of those boring co-op games which are all polite, and it's like, oh no, after you. No, after you. Oh, do you hit the monster first? Oh, thank you very much, let me hit the monster. Do you need a healing potion? Oh, that's so kind of you. Here we go. I know I can't buy that armor. Well, tell you what, here's 25 gold. You go ahead and fill your boots. Oh, you're so nice. And you're just like that. Burn! Burn! Like that. I mean, is that where the fun is? Because it's not like, it's kind of like you're attacking other people with fire, which is, I'm going to say, is always a fun thing to do, but then, I might get arrested for that. But when you're, it is basically, you're trying to set somebody else on, their fire tower on fire.
Yep. So it is funny. I mean, we know that it's an absurd premise, but I think part of when we designed the game, it was just, of course, it's going to be competitive, and we didn't even think too much about it. Sam really loves the, incredibly interactive games where he loves taking other people down if he can. He loves, like, that sort of taking on your opponents. I like the card games that have, sort of that long-term strategy, multiple game strategy, and so both of those are in there with the cards that you could potentially card count, because it's a simple deck. There's not it's not like every single card has its own action. There's a deck of cards that's based in suits and everything, and then there's the board, which allows you to spread the fire and so on.
In terms of the theme, I think we got some really good advice, like, early on from other game designers, where they basically told us you're not going to be able to please everyone. And if you try to make a game that is going to please everyone, it's not going to be a game that really makes anyone that happy. And it would be better to make a game that has a community around it and has an audience, and it really invigorates that community, and it stokes their passions. So it's like, we'll know the people who come up to our game. They'll walk up sometimes at conventions and look at us and go, hey, is this another cooperative firefighting game? And we'll be like, no, it's competitive. And their eyes light up, and they're like, well, I'm in. I want to. Wait, I can burn down the other towers, and I'm defending myself, and I can control the fire. And then we're like, yes, you can do that. They're like, thank you for making this. So it's like, when we see those people, it's great. And most people react to it. Most people don't take it too seriously. The theme is a little dark, but the way the game is constructed, it doesn't feel brutal. It's not like I've played certain worker placement games where I take one action from someone else, and it feels way more brutal than burning down someone's fire tower. So yeah, I don't know. We stuck with the theme, and it's people have really enjoyed it, and I think it's really what has helped the game become so popular. So I'm glad we didn't give up on it.
Are you a sore winner, Sam? Do you get in people's faces and go, ha ha ha, like that when you win?
No, I'm worse than that. I'm that guy who will maybe lose his mind a bit if he loses and stalk off. But if I win, I'll be very humble and quiet, and then be like, everyone, that was a very nice game, because I'm conscious of the fact of how horrible it is when someone else does it to you.
Sorry, but we're going straight over to Gwen here for confirmation of this. Is Sam a sore winner? Is he the type of thing?
Oh my gosh, Sam is he's very fun to play games with, but it's hilarious the way he reacts. If he usually what happens with Sam is that he thinks he's going to lose a game that he's actually going to win. So he'll get, all worked up about how he's going to lose the game, and then when he wins, he has to sort of swallow everything he just said to everybody.
That's fantastic. You just, I don't know.
amazing.
It's just imagine it's like I'm going to go and write in my journal, lost 1-4 games again.
Tallying the total over a lifetime.
And then when you go up, you say, well, you won that game last week. I won 4 of them. It's in my journal. I mean, one of the standout things is the fire itself. I mean, was the glass? I mean, was the beads thing? Because they are kind of resiny, clear. I know what I'm talking about. Go on the Kickstarter. They're clear fire things. They're not going to be solid, but they are clear fire. They're all over the Kickstarter page. It's stuff, things, fire. But was that a decision from the very, very beginning? When you put them together, were you already playing around with little kind of clear orange beads when you were designing the game when you started doing it?
Our original Fire Tower board had golden plastic pirate tokens. Then we upgraded to just like winks, like tiddlywinks. And we took that to a convention, and people kind of kept saying, it'd be really nice if this was something else, and I remember sort of thinking like, well, you design it, I was like grumpy about it. And then we found the piece, and it was like everybody was so right, and we finally found the piece, and when we finally found the piece, it was clear right away. We took it to a convention, and somebody walked by, and the first thing they said was, "That's a lot of fire you got there." So It was clear, it's like we knew exactly that,
And then the next person who walked up said what so many people have said, that, what, can I eat these? Can I eat these fire pieces? And then people will just walk by to put their hands in them before, and then they'll look at me like, I don't know what the game's about exactly. I see that it's fire, but can I touch these for a while? And then after they hold them for a minute, they're like, well, I want to play now.
You just thought not selling as an add-on, just a bag of fire.
People have asked us that. People even said, like, I would upgrade my pledge to like get us to like some stretch goal where we get extra fire tokens. But it's just, there's already 135 of them. It's like if you added another significant amount, it would be a very heavy game.
Yeah. Yeah, the shipping cost is really the main problem with those gems.
Goodness. Are they?
Worth it.
Are they clear plastic then? Yeah.
Yeah, they're right. They're transparent orange plastic. And they look like they're all different from each other.
Did you design that specifically in mind? Were they quite easy to get the kind of like the prototypes made? Did you just go to the fire shop and say, "I'll have 135 of these, please"?
There's a fire shop on every corner in Brooklyn, so
that's what I heard.
We printed our first prototypes through GameCrafter, and pretty much everything else in the game came from there except for those gems. Thankfully, the manufacturers we're working with, it's a piece they happen to have, and we basically just scaled up the size of it and picked the right shade. So we had to figure out how to source those ourselves for the original prototypes.
How many fire beads do you currently have in your house?
Thousands and thousands. It's bad. Like, you'll open a drawer and there's one. You'll step on the rug and you will get a wound underneath. Oh, there's a fire gem. Got to get it out of there. The cat will be batting them around.
Yep, they're everywhere.
That sounds like a Lego thing when you go out in bare feet and you stand on a Lego.
Yes.
They're not quite as insidious as Legos, but they're definitely on the spectrum of pain. Whenever
we're playing games and we run out of pieces, I just reach into my pocket and I always happen to have 7 fire gems on me.
It does happen at game nights. They're like, oh no, I'm missing 2 of the counters for the life tracker. And Ren's like, well, I have these. I'm like, oh, these are nice.
Exactly. It's like, you've got something in your hair. Oh, okay. It's like you're finishing a meal. I got something in my teeth. So, it's a fire thing. It's not. But yeah, it is going to be like New Year's party when somebody brings in one of those kind of tinsel bombs or whatever, glitter bombs, and you're picking out kind of everyone goes Happy New Year, poof, and it goes everywhere. And you're still going to be finding these little orange darlings for like years to come.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. We've had a few conventions where the people at the conventions tweeted at us with a picture where they said, Fire Tower, we have your pieces. And there's like the fire gems they found under the table or that rolled into the corner because people got really into the game. So.
Is there a chance they could like reach some kind of omnipotence and then breed?
It could. I mean, maybe that's why there's so many in the house. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like a subtle infestation at first, and then pretty soon everyone's like, whatever happened to Runaway Parade Games? It's like, oh, they're in a solid chunk of orange plastic. It all solidified. It's in its chrysalis stage.
That's the topic of our next game, actually.
Well, in millions of years' time, you'll get found and scientists will dig you out like big bits of amber. And then they'll use your DNA to reproduce kind of new game designers. And then of course you'll break out and smash the park and you'll eat the tourists, and that'll be a fun film.
That's how they'll track us, the trail of fire gems.
Exactly. That'll be it. I guess the other thing is as well is did you, when you were doing your conventions, were you not tempted to go and hijack the photosynthesis stand and just take your fire gems with you? And then just recreate the forest. Just like walk past and they just casually throw them on the table and go, "Hey, you're not gonna get your son now, are you?" Just it's all gonna burn.
Someone has actually suggested it, so they're like, you should like have like a mode where you play a round of photosynthesis, and then it turns into a round of Fire Tower where you now destroy that forest you've just grown.
That's it. That should just say that. Just that would be so
Best
funny.
played with photosynthesis.
Just have a word with them. Just see what they'll do. They actually might approach you. They'll go, "Oh, they're really funded and successful."
They probably will. Yeah, I'm sure photosynthesis is coming to us about this as we speak.
Definitely. I'm just checking my email again, and then I'm checking my junk folder. No, still not contacted us. But you could do that. You could just do like drive-by firings on anything at all. You know what I mean? Anything at all. Any game. Do you know what I mean? Jackfruit, there you go. Anything like that. Pandemic, that would be hilarious. Pandemic Legacy Season 2. Islands on fire.
You thought disease was the problem, but...
Now whole continents are on fire.
You're burned.
But it got rid of the disease, so inadvertently you still won the game.
Well, there you go. Exactly. On the other side of it, did you at any point actually consider having Jell-O type sweets for the fire? We will do that now, I guess is the only answer I have for you.
No, that would be a pretty good marketing thing. It's like every time you play, well, now you've got to buy another bag of gems.
Yeah, and they retail for $79.99 for 135. See, that's what you're looking at. They're talking about the retail tail. You just put something in them, something illegal to make them addictive. I don't. You could be like the Walter White of the board game industry.
Like, you've never seen a fire gem so pure.
Exactly. Let's cook. And then on you kind of go. Right, back to the game. What's it called again? Who did the fantastic picture of the moving, is it GIF or GIF? With the little fire tower gems, and how long did that take? And was it fun or frustrating to do?
You mean the how to play video, or the
little
top,
GIF where you get the little kind of all the gems coming together to spell the word fire tower?
That was both of us. We actually, our whole how to play video is also done with stop motion, so I think we're probably totaling in the 7,000 frames or something.
For the project.
Oh my goodness.
We actually, both of us really like doing that, but it was insane, and we chose to do it sort of late in the game there, so there was some very, very, very late nights.
Moving jumps around like minuscule amounts, and then the cat would run across it was like we had to keep quarantining the cat, and the roommates were like, don't come over here because if you bump the table we have to start this hour process over again.
Were you a little bit grumpy at the end?
Great moods the whole time.
Yeah. Just smiling and bathing in the fire gems.
Yeah, that's how we always are, actually.
We're just going to cut to that one picture of, I think is it Cinderella smiling with the caption, screaming internally.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where everyone said, are you sure this is good time management to be working on this thing? But then when we finally finished it and our other friends saw it, they're like, oh, the stop motion video was worth it. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you believed in us the whole time.
Yeah.
I would have just went past and went, you spelt tower wrong. That's not how you spell Scott. I've just said that. That's not how you spell Scotland. That's not how you spell tower in Scotland.
Yeah.
Nobody in the UK is going to understand that. You think that's a tour? You think you're taking them on a? I think you're taking them on a fire tour.
Hey, that could be the next game. It's like you're just like wandering around the forest. Like, look what they're doing in there.
We're making people playing photosynthesis cry. Oh my goodness. But anyway, back to the gameplay. So basically, I mean, it is a case of you've got a wind direction, but you've also got the ability to kind of control the fire a little bit as well with kind of fire breaks that you can put down. But the idea is to you get different cards that you can play to affect how the fire is kind of spreading as well, and you are continually adding to the fire. I mean, did you have to play around? Did you have to balance up naturally how the fire was going to be spreading? Still kind of make it enjoyable to actually play it and allow you the player to actually have some control over where the fire was going.
Yeah, we definitely had to kind of tool it so it didn't accelerate too quickly, but we also wanted the game to wrap up enough. So yeah, it was finding that sweet spot where people are having a great experience for just the right amount of time. And the way we really did that was just that the difference is every card allows you to add different patterns to the board, and each one has their own tactical advantages versus disadvantages. So whereas one fire card, like the flare up, it can spread further than any other card. It's just a line of 3, and it can be easily blocked. Whereas the explosion doesn't spread quite as far, but it's more like a bridgehead. So we wanted people to be making those kind of interesting decisions on their turn. Like, what's more important to me right now? Engulfing more territory, or kind of like embedding myself with what I've already taken, or should I focus on my own defense right now?
What's it been like with the community then, and the effect of kind of like the rules? Because one of the more popular things to do nowadays is to put your rule book out there to let people kind of come back and give you some feedback. I mean, you've now got almost you've got 1,000 people almost that have backed the game. What's it like kind of having that third designer on board in terms of the community? I mean, have you been surprised about the kind of the interaction that you've had from the Kickstarter community, and what's your experience has been of that kind of so far?
With regards to the rule book, I don't know. Mostly people have except some people have asked us specific questions about people have asked about the player elimination aspect, and they wanted to know, like, does it actually, how long are people sitting around? And we've been able to explain to them, all the different things we added to the game to accelerate it. It's like as each person is removed, a firestorm happens, more cards are added to the hand. So people aren't actually sitting around for that long after they've been taken out. So it's more been questions about that. Specific rules, people did have asked questions about how the team variant works, but not so much trying to make changes, more just having a clarification on exactly how something works. We have had a lot of really good feedback for just like the way some of the stretch goals we've done and the way that they would look, or the way that they would add to the game. So we've definitely gotten a lot of feedback on that. On the rule book, not as much, other than very good questions, which I'm always really happy to ask them, because the more, if you can really answer those questions about your game, it really means you know the ins and out. And we played it so many times that I could almost answer them in my sleep. So it's good. It makes you think about it from their perspective, which can only make the game better.
Yeah. No, I think if that's one of the things that you forget is you've always got this thing of being kind of like too close to the tool bench, where you've been working on something for so long, when you've had a game in your face for that length of time, that it's very, very difficult for you to potentially look at it from another angle, even if there's like maybe two of you involved in the kind of the design kind of thing. And I notice you're incredibly active in terms of kind of dealing with the comments that you're getting on Kickstarter. I mean, was that something that you guys kind of decided from the beginning that you were going to be as active as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had this community growing through the conventions that we've been going to, and I think for Sam and I, our favorite thing about creating a game has been bringing the game to conventions and meeting people and having these personal interactions with them. I mean, the feedback is invaluable. Just having that face-to-face interaction with people has really meant a lot to us. So we wanted to take that same attitude to the Kickstarter campaign and really bring people into the process and have it be a personal affair. Because, I mean, it's pretty much just the two of us doing this. It's a very personal project for us. We're a very small team, and we're not like a big company who has all these different people that we're interacting. You're talking directly to us no matter what. So we wanted to keep that feel going because that means a lot to us.
And I mean, has this with a success? I mean, its success is funded. It's funded by 6 times. With the success there, has this kind of not made you think, right, this is this is it, board game design, this is what we're going to be doing from now on, but has it kind of made you think more about, well, a long-term plan in terms of the games that you want to be putting out there? I mean, are you looking at forging a particular identity for the type of games that you want to be kind of making at Runaway?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do. We have like a lot of other game designs we've been working on. Mostly, we've been doing everything for Fire Tower and pushing that forward. So most of our game design happens when we're in cars driving between conventions. That's like that's the one downtime where it's like, well, we can't physically work on Fire Tower right now. So yeah, we have a lot of ideas. I think what we always want to do in our game design is have a theme that people haven't really experienced before. Be able to connect to that, and have some mechanics that feel a little bit different from what you've dealt with before, but mostly just something with an energy to it that's enjoyable, and it keeps moving forward and kind of pulls you up in it, where it's like every turn matters, and every time you see another player taking a turn, you're really watching them. You're not just thinking about your turn, you're thinking about how their turn is going to affect what you're going to do next. So constant engagement is something we're striving for.
Also, having the game just be as accessible as possible, something that you can teach really quickly, and that people can pick it up, and that they can start making important decisions about what they're doing within moments of, opening the box. So that, I mean, not only is that a really great experience to have at a convention, because if you're teaching like a game that takes an hour to learn and then 3 hours to play, the convention experience isn't so great. But also just because I love those types of games, and they bring non-gamers into gaming, and the more gamers there are, the better it is for everyone. That's what people need. I mean, for every, I think for every big box, complicated kind of behemoth that's out there, I think it's always good to have something which is going to be this striking that you are going to get non-board gamer players kind of walking past and going, what's this all about? I understand dice, I understand minis, and I understand cards, but you've got all these lovely plastic kind of orange tokens. Can I eat one, please? kind of thing. Edible games is also our next line.
I think edible addictive games. Join us in court. We're Runaway Parade. start the first year of their 15-year sentence. But I mean, also the other thing is as well is the actual the entry level to pledge. You've kept it kind of relatively low. I mean, I'm going to say low because compared to there's a lot of games out there that, you know, jumping above $100 at the moment just seems to be it's a piffling 100. You've kept it under. I mean, it's $39 kind of gets you through the door. So again, was that kind of like a conscious decision based on that you're looking to make it accessible, and you know, and again, I guess it's testament to that you've really funded really well, if you're looking at, you know, $40 for the game. And was that a conscious decision that you made to try and kind of keep it below a certain level in terms of the price?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing, you know, we also with the accessibility. I mean, we just wanted, you know, we set the funding goal just to be able to produce the first print run. And that's what we really want, just to get the game out in the world and have people enjoy it. So the best thing we could do for that was, you know, and especially to give back to the people who have helped us at this time, is offer a good, you know, price on the Kickstarter and make it so, you know, it's not like this very hard-hitting financial decision to get the game into your house. So yeah, we were conscious of that, and throughout the whole process of working with manufacturers, we've definitely tried to find ways to, you know, keep the cost like at a relative level, and, you know, an accessible level and a reasonable level.
Yeah, without taking away too much of the quality of the game. And I think now with the stretch goals, we have the quality game that we want, so that's really thrilling to have that as well.
It kind of made it like almost like an impulse purchase. You know, because in terms of people can look at it and go, oh, it's $40. I can just, you know, I can back that and know that I'm not going to be getting to the end of the month before payday and saying, can I really afford this, you know, this amount of money?
Yeah, right.
People can kind of jump in, and it's kind of like it struck me as a kind of a reasonable level. And you get, I mean, as you say, you do get kind of like a fair amount in the box. I mean, you obviously get your, we're not going to make any more jokes about the fire tokens because it's serious. Fire is serious, you know. And no, I remember on the back of we had our workbooks at school, and they had like a warning about fire, and they said, you remember, fire burns, fire kills, and then underneath we wrote fire bakes, fries, and grills.
Yeah, it's true. You got to remember the civilization building aspect of it as well.
Exactly, you know. But I mean, you get your tokens, you get your fire, you get your fire gems, you get your fire break tokens, you get your dice, you get your board, you get your action cards, bucket cards, firestone card, your book of rules. You're also gonna get your weather vane cards, your champion of the woods. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fantastic. A coloured mixed marble D8. Oh my goodness. Okay, back this people. And cloth bag's the next thing to fall, isn't it?
Yep.
That's the 50k kind of
Yep.
stretch goals. As I say, is this you kind of reaching the end of the stretch goals before you're kind of starting to jump into the profitability of the game? Is that something you kind of have to bear in mind?
I mean, it's definitely a really complicated math problem that we're constantly trying to figure out. So, like, yeah, the balancing and making sure that we're not making the game, like, it's really tempting just to say, like, whatever you guys want, like, we'll give it all to you, and then, you know, we're going to lose our home over that. So,
Exactly.
trying to find that balance is important.
But yeah, no, the bag was something we had thought about, but weren't initially thinking of adding to it. But a lot of feedback from backers, they were really interested in having that and having something, you know, cool to hold the fire gems. So we figured out the math for that, and you know a reasonable level where we could add it to the game. So we're excited that, you know, we're nearing that stretch goal, and it'll be cool to add that to every copy of the game.
Because I mean, this isn't the last chance saloon. I mean, you have got, you know, look at the time that we're talking. You got 2 weeks to go.
I know.
Is that weird? Is that like weird? I mean, it's because I've seen. It's really strange because I've seen Kickstarters that have they've done strong, and they've been asking for 10k, and they've made 12k. 12,000. I've seen other ones which have started off, your normals. I mean, one of the big ones at the moment seems to be the Hellboy board game, which, I really like it. I love the artwork of the Hellboy kind of character anyway, so that's kind of, I like that.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, you got 2 weeks to go, and I mean, is it every day you kind of like sitting there and going, right, okay, are you having to almost manage your expectations and downplay where you could potentially be going with this to kind of keep your feet on the ground?
I think we're so surprised, not so surprised, but like so blown away by everybody's support that I think every single person who comes in is another like, oh wow, I can't believe that. So we've done that now, closing in on 1,000 times.
I think also, we're not trying to focus too much on, what it could be or how far it could go. And we're just trying to, create the best experience for everyone doing it, and, just keep I don't know. It's not, we're not sitting around going, oh, this is going to make 100,000. It's like, we don't want to set expectations. We've already achieved. I mean, we just wanted to produce the game. And the fact that we're doing that is already, so we're really grateful for that. Yeah. And really excited to do that. So I mean, we're not thinking too much about, what it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. And we're just putting the work in and trying to get the word out as best we can. And we're just going to keep working at it and see where it ends up.
Yeah, and I think the common misconception is when you get something that funds this well, this doesn't mean that... I see this folk go, yeah, but you've got 46,000. Yeah, I know. But your goal was only 8,000. Yeah, I know. But that doesn't mean that we've got $38,000 sitting about now doing nothing. We've got to make the other games that everybody's asked for as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
so I think
exactly.
It's like there's very few... I think there's very few companies that do Kickstarter that walk away and go, right, guys, you can have the prawn crackers with the Chinese meal tonight. We're going all out. Can I have some dim sum? Yes, you can have too. Thank you very much, kind of thing. But no, I mean, you're still having to balance everything up. I think as Jamie Stegmaier says, there's a point you reach where the economy of scale doesn't scale any kind of low. And that's what I mean. We had Panda GM on the show recently. We had Bryant from Panda GM just kind of talking us through the kind of economies of scale in terms of game board kind of production. And there is a point
really interesting.
There is a point where you just can't cut the margin anymore at the manufacturing kind of side. So
right. I mean, it's definitely noticeable that certain types of things like the gems, for example, don't really change in cost. It doesn't matter how many you print, there's no economy of scale with those, really.
Yeah, because there's already so many of them. Like, we were trying to figure out the other day how many gems are going to have to be produced to satisfy every game of Fire Tower that's been made. And what is it, like
130,000
of them. So it's like they're already like at that. They've been scaled up pretty far already.
Yeah, right. We're not getting any more discounts.
I know. Be some really excited quality control people at the factory.
They'll go for a swim and then...
Exactly. It's like, how's it going? Well, you turned up 10 minutes late to work. I know, I missed my bus. Guess what you get to do? Don't tell me Runaway Parade. Yeah, it's landed. What have we done? We made 135,000 little flamey, fiery things, and you've got to check every single one. But by that, I mean, technically, if you leave them long enough, it sounds like they're breeding anyway. So it could just be a matter of time. Sorry, guys, the Kickstarter's delayed.
We planted a few already, so the crop is coming.
We have to wait until August before we can harvest.
You got to get that nice like burning ember color.
Yeah.
If you wait too long, they just turn brown.
You can't pick
exactly.
them early,
And if you take them too early, they're just green. It's like a green fire. What's the point of that? It's not settling anything. It's not setting anything on fire.
Photosynthesis the game is all about. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. For, as I say, 4 people, 14 days roughly, by the time this comes out. You can jump in with both feet for the grand sum of $39 US. But you can also get the $49 US version, which gets you a handcrafted bucket. But they're all. Oh, you've got 2 left of the handcrafted bucket. I don't know why that's funny, but just handcrafted bucket sounds funny. If people are interested in finding out more, I mean, congratulations to you guys for like doing a stellar job with this.
Hey, thank you so much.
You know, it's excellent to see you doing so well. If people want to keep an eye on what you're up to in the future, where can we find you on the interweb nets?
You can find us at Runaway Parade on Facebook. You can find us at runawayparade.com. That's our website, and we'll have updates on what we're doing there. Also, we're on Instagram and Twitter as well. Also under Runaway Parade or Runaway Parade Games.
Yeah.
On those. So yeah, you can find us on all those social media forums, and that's pretty much where we'll be letting the world know what's going on.
Also, reach out to us if you have any questions or anything at all. We want to talk to you. We're at runawayparade@gmail.com.
Sounds fantastic. I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Which is on page 6 of the show notes. It's question number 37. You are in the middle of an inferno. And you've taken refuge away from the little plastic yellow orangey things in a board game shop. Now this board game emporium houses every single board game, any type, any make, any edition. Okay? The flames are starting to get closer and closer to the board game emporium, and you can see out the back door there is a clear way that you can escape. Okay? But you've decided that you want to take or save at least some of these board games, okay? There's a trolley in front of you, one of those lovely deluxe ones with like the little kind of handle that you can pull things along. And there's space in the trolley. There's space in the trolley for 6 board games, 3 board games each, okay?
Oof.
Now the fire is coming, it's going to wipe out this beautiful emporium, and let's face it, it's made of cardboard, so it's going to go up in smoke. What games do you take with you from the fire, Sam? 3 games.
Oh, starting with me? I have to load the card first. All right. Wow. 3 games. Is this like the last board game emporium in the world? Or after this burns down, can I walk down the block and enter another?
They're already burnt down, Sam. There's the smell of charcoal and burnt meeples is horrific. You've got the blistered skin of card sleeves is surrounding you already. I'm not joking, this is a fierce flame that's heading your way. Do you want to make your decision?
All right. Well, my first decision, I feel like I'm gonna take Power Grid with me.
Okay.
That's a good one.
What else am I gonna take? I think I'm gonna take. Oh God, I feel like I'm gonna offend someone else. They're like, "Well, you didn't take my game from the fire."
That's okay. That's fine. They're all dead. They're all burnt and dead anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I know.
How many players are
there? How many people are left? Yeah, if I choose a 4-player game.
If you get the 4-player, okay, look at it this way. If you bump into one person, they'll be wanting to play a game. If you bump into 20 people, then they will all be happy to play a game. The answer to the question, do you want to play a board game, is always going to be yes. Okay.
All right. I think I'd also take. Oh God. I'd also take. I take 5 tribes with me.
Okay.
And God, my last choice. God, this is tough. I don't know. I'm getting all tense. Gwen, do you want to throw a couple in?
No. You've got to finish.
I gotta finish my last one. I guess I'll take it. It feels weird. I've played it so many times. You think I could let it go? I think I'd also take Dominion with me.
There you go.
Do I only get the base game, or can I throw? Am I allowed to add expansions?
You can have all the expansions. It's a big enough trolley.
All right. Those are the 3 I'll take in this moment where I have to make a quick decision.
I know,
Oh
but
my
if you had longer,
gosh.
if you'd had longer, you'd start to smoulder.
Yeah.
So that's not good. Gwen,
Yeah, this is terrible. I hate this task. I guess
would you rather they all burned?
Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna let them burn. I can't choose a favorite.
Oh, that's
and that's
awful.
how it is.
Not even one game. One game.
I would grab. I recently played Skull King, and I'm just like dying to play it again. So I would grab
Okay.
Skull King.
Right.
I'd grab The Grizzled, which is a great game,
Okay.
and I'm trying to think of the last one here. I'm asking Sam with my eyes.
I can't help you, Gwen.
He can't
Gwen,
help you.
I've loaded the cart and I've left. It's your job to pull it out of the store.
He's like the Towering Inferno. He's covered his head in a wet jacket and he's running out already. You need to catch up
I'm
with the last
actually
game.
pretty sure I would burn in this fire because of the paralysis of this decision. But you know what? I'm gonna go for another cooperative game. I'm gonna grab Sylveon just because of the fire theme that's in that one. I like it a lot.
That's a strong and fair choice. So you run off down the path with the trolley, the flames, take the board games. You turn around and brush a tear away from your eye.
This is very real.
You know, and covered, slightly sooty, slightly tired, but happy that you're going to have some games to play. Thank you very, very much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
It's great talking to you.
Yeah, this is
This
fun.
has been just absolute nonsense.
I love it.
But it's all right. There's other more serious podcasts out there. I mean, did you design the balance in mind between playing a 3-player game and a 4-player game? Did you have a spreadsheet to do that, and can we share it with the audience? I'm gonna do that. That kind of thing. Did you use red in the highlighter in the Excel spreadsheet? And that kind of thing. But what we'll do is
It's always
all the links.
about color coding,
It is. Did you have lilac on it? You do. Oh my goodness, you certainly do. Right, I knew that. If we'll make sure that we put the links in the show notes, so we've got notes to show. I'm coughing here because I'm on fire. If you want to keep an eye on what we are up to, and thank you very much for everybody that does. No idea why you still follow us. It must be I don't know. No idea. Clueless. No idea at all. But if you want to continue to follow us, you can follow us on Twitter at We're Not Wizards. You can follow us on Facebook at We're Not Wizards. You can come and like the page. You can find us on YouTube at We're Not Wizards Tabletop Podcast. And all of the episodes that we post automatically go onto YouTube because of our lovely podcast host, Podbean. If you want to see some words, because we started to write some stuff, then you can read about us at we'renotwizards.blogspot.com. One of the articles that we've recently got is one about a preview of Darwin's Choice, and congratulations to Mark and the team because they funded within their first day as well. So very, very good news for them too. You can find us in all the normal podcast catchy places. So you've got your Spreakers and Stitchers and Acasts and Podknives and Player FMs and Spotify as well. You can find us on Spotify if you're that way kind of inclined. That would be fantastic. If you like us a lot, jump on the Apple Podcasts and drop us a subscription. If you like us even more than that, I don't understand why you do, but drop us a rating or a review. If you are going to give us a rating or a review, don't give us 10 stars. I'm sick of telling you, stop giving us 10 stars, but don't give us 1 star because that makes us cry. So go for something in the middle that's like average, like a 5, because that's in the middle and it's average, and we are decidedly average. But the people who've not been average today, you've got Gwen, you've got Sam, you've got a big raging fire of Kickstarter in the middle of it, and it's all fantastic and wonderful. But again, thank you very, very much for coming on.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much.
And there's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is as always, is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards? Sam and Gwen?
Well, I'm not. How about you, Gwen? What's your status?
Not a wizard.
Not a wizard.
Fantastic. And the second thing is to say goodbye. So it is a goodbye from the wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing, the deservedly successful Gwen and Sam from Runaway Parade. Say goodbye, folks.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll sixes, and little orange, little flamey things, $40. Come on, buy it for that. And then you can make your own little stop motion kind of words and stuff, and then throw it at people as they're playing photosynthesis and other games. Which would be fun. But until the next time, goodbye.